my goodness. Welcome to Freak Out Friday on a Noah Guy Bicycles. If it's Friday in your neck of the woods, yes, you know there's some mechanic in some poor shop just freaking out. And yes, it is definitely a freak out time for many aspects of the cycling industry, realm, retail, you name it. We are in the thick of it for sure. Just starting off, hopefully we can keep this live stream going pretty good today because we got a massive windstorm going on outside, which makes me very thankful that I'm working inside, which is something I like riding outside, but I rather work inside. In any case, we may lose some power. If that case, there's not much I can do. But we're going to do the best we can with the time we have it. In any case, thank you for joining me on Freak Out Friday. Just kind of an insight or insights of a bike shop on a Friday and trying to figure out what is going on, right? How the week go and how are we going to get through the weekend if we're that kind of a store. And in our little snapshot, we are definitely in the thick of it in a sense of the last little push for, you know it, Christmas. Oh, I need to reset my lights a little bit because it got cloudy on me and the natural light coming in the garage is kind of poo-pooed on me. So we're going to readjust some of the inexpensive Facebook Marketplace lights that I bought in any case. QIBBLE. Thank you for joining me. Thank you and happy Friday to you. TGIF for all those who are ready for the weekend before the big holiday. And you know, I said happy holidays to all those first and foremost, regardless of however you celebrate it. We here in the bike shop world appreciate all customers that are coming in our stores right now or having our buy stuff from us and also do service work as well. Yes, I'm doing a lot of that still, and which is great. I'm very, very warm and grateful for all those opportunities to help support my community around me and abroad. And in any case, just, yeah, I'm kind of really is grateful. So being thankful and grateful for what I do and able to do it and however long I can do it, hopefully it is as long as my body will keep going. And in any case, I wanted a couple topics I wanted to talk about today on Freak Out Friday. One is giving and giving back. There's a huge opportunities for a lot of shops giving back either the service to help promote charity bikes and so forth and events. Those are probably already come and gone. And thanks to all those mechanics out there that pitched in and worked on bikes to get kids on bikes during the holiday seasons. It's a huge thing. And if you ever done any of those events during the holidays, it is very warming and also frightening. Not because of all the bikes you had to work on that were subpar and you're trying to do the best you can. The aspect of it is always fall, at least locally here, through Realities for Children, which is a big event, which I've been involved with over the years before. Not lately, but in years I've worked at the shops and we would gather as many bikes, and this is a community thing, so several bike shops would do it. And they would donate their time on mechanics fixing these things up and then doing the event. Time in and again and year in and year out, there always were short, always have been short on bikes giving out to communities where they can't afford. This is like their only gift they're getting for Christmas, which is really just heartbreaking. But at least there's those going forward trying to do those opportunities. So your local events in your neck of the woods for maybe not this season, but next season, search it out. Look in your garage. Got the little kid's bike that hasn't been touched in years or outgrew it. You forgot about it. Donate it, that kind of thing. I implore you to do that because there's always a shortage of that. In season, you can do the same thing. I mean, you know, Goodwill and the others, other ones here in town they make a profit off of it. Well, they will sell them to keep their nonprofit organization going. There's an opportunity there when you get the spring cleaning. So bikes need to be ridden. So that's what the end of the line, bottom line is like they need to be ridden and out there. So if they're not doing it, there we go. Oh, I got my daughter actually, I think, chiming in chat from our Bollinger channel, just for a fun channel. So hi. Yeah, our daughter unfortunately came down with the flu this week, so she's at home today in the last couple of days. So I've been Mr. Mominant as well as trying to do stuff. So another layer of freaking out, but I hope she is doing okay. Being the case. So yeah, we're talking about what we've been doing and experiencing in bike shops. We've kind of got over the hump of if a lot of shops are involved, like doing those donations and trying to, get out and trying to be a part of the community and uplifting, as well as balancing any kind of sales that we can, help out with, Christmas bikes, those kinds of things. So it's just kind of a mad dash of a whole bunch of different things. But that is the bike shop realm. It's usually not too terribly busy. It is to some level an opportunity for shops to, do more service or get bikes ready for Christmas and so forth. But it pales comparison to big box stores, which I had experience working at Big Five Sporting Goods, where it's just freaking insane. And working for them over 9 years, GM and numbers and all that, it's basically 3 months of summer compressed into 1 month during the holidays, because they sell everything from shoes to workout clothing to everything else underneath. So it's a bigger, wider audience of customer base during the off season, or during the holiday season. So in any case, that was a huge brain twist crusher in my experience over time. Bike shops have never really they've seen some, and it all depends on the neck of the woods too. If you're a southern or warmer climate bike shop like San Diego, I'm sure you have some fair amount of sales and so forth during the holidays, because that bike underneath the Christmas tree there is a little more going to be used that day than possibly here. Although we've been having an extremely warm temperature range, and it's going to be in the 50s and 60s this Christmas for us. So no white Christmas for us. But in any case, it's all right. It is what it is. Oh, I need to there we go. Keep forgetting I'm streaming on both platforms, vertical and horizontal, and I need to add the chat so all of you can see, because they don't share, because technically 2 streamings at the same time. In any case, technical issues there. Apparently, I got my daughter just watching me, so hey, that makes me warm and fuzzy inside. So what we're talking about is, bike shops that do the charity work, and then you have the people that have bikes that do the big work. They donate what they have for us to give. And I want to talk about a couple of companies, 2 specific ones that I've seen recently in listings or articles or what have you. And I am recovering from a cold, so if I just have a little coughing fit, I do apologize. I forgot my cough drop, so. In any case, so what we got is one that does relate to helping community nonprofits is, believe it or not, Park Tool, which is, if you don't know Park Tool, it's top of line known, one of the top of line known tool companies, not this tool, but the tools that you see behind me, tools, which have been pretty much in shops for over decades and decades. And they always give out several $1,000s, if not more than that, in tools to a selected winner nonprofit organization. And they've been doing this for years. So it really helps that nonprofit really tool up, literally, to be able to do the good work they do in the communities, which is a win-win. That's a totally awesome thing. That being said, it's a good thing that they're doing, and they're a United States company. They're up in Minnesota, And they built, they built a lot of the tools in the United States for a long time. Not much currently now, but over the years they did as much as they could. So they're a really good company when it comes to that. And yeah, their tools are expensive and they hardly ever go on sale, but they are tested and tried and true, and they do stand up behind them. So it's one of those things like, yeah, if something does fail, pick up the phone, it'll take care of you. So it's this is not a plug by any means for that particular tool company. I use Pedro's and Feedback and for others, and all those companies probably do some form of charity, but this is what has been kind of seen in the latest press releases and always kind of stuck out. So I just wanted to give, a shout out to them and give them a thumbs up and that kind of thing. So, it's a positive deal. Yeah, what can you say? It's just a positive thing. And they are providing those very expensive tools. Like a headset press or bonnet bracket, chaser, all those are $300 to $500 to $600 tools. Who knows? They may sell some or give some of their mortar stands to help with those e-bikes and the heavier bikes and so forth. That's great. Hey, Joe, thank you for chiming in. Friday shop chat. Oh, 17 degrees here. Woo! Yeah, that's chilly. Yeah, and you've been getting some snow up there too. We haven't seen snow for a couple weeks. And when we did see it, it was a lot. And now it's totally gone. Totally melted away. But in any case, thank you all for joining in. And just kind of a chime in, I just want to do the, shout out, thank you, and thank you for watching this because you are what makes this channel what it is today. In addition to thank those companies that work with me and have been working with me to keep this dream alive. And in addition to, I hope everybody has great holidays. I will be doing Shop Talk Tuesday on Tuesday as well on Friday. Going to be in town, so I have no other plans other than doing this and doing a lot of shopping. That I have done zero shopping. Anybody in the chat, has anybody done any shopping yet? Oh boy. Probably not much at all. Any case, and there's deals to be had-ish. And, there's still overstock on inventory in places where you can get items. And then there's stuff that are becoming more limited and prices are fluctuating. So it's going to be a hit and miss. Right now, to let you know, this is probably the last day you can get something shipped and get it to your house on like a 2-day, if lucky. So this is probably like the red line of shipping, probably is today. So keep that in mind. So if you're looking on Amazon, I have a link below for Amazon suggestions there. Also, if you're looking for wheels or chains from Vital Bike Chains that just chimed in, how you doing there, Bill? Are you done shopping? Oh man. Oh, everybody's got chains. Of course. Of course. Everybody gets a wax chain. So did they get all the speed wax chip or did they just get endurance because you don't want to see them because they're your family members? Just making that clear, right? Yeah, you're gonna have to pardon me because I watched a lot of funny videos on TikTok this morning just to get myself primed because you know what? All this doom and gloom, I'm kind of tired of it and I'm ready just to be happy about the holidays and the family and all that kinds of stuff. So let's just kind of get an injection of wherever you want to put it, of happiness and enjoy your family, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's like, yeah, thanks for joining in, Violet Bike Chains. I got late on the show, so I don't have any promos, but Vital Bike Chains, he does all the speed chips and endurance waxes. He carries Shimano, Shimano SRAM. Let's do that over again. Some other KMC and some other ones. So check out his link. I have a discount promo below too, that kind of thing. If you're looking to upgrade your bike going into the cold season. And that's the second part of this I'm going to talk about is, holy crap, what's going to be happening in spring. And this will probably be carrying over in Shop Talk Tuesday with a little more of a structural formulated, maybe bring in an expert or two to talk about it as well. But we'll see. Everybody's busy this time of year, including myself, and just don't want to impose on anybody family time. But in any case, oh, somebody else is all done. I got 2, no, I don't have anything. Because somebody's watching, and I don't have anything yet, but I have ideas. So I am the procrastinator shopper. I'll be out there Monday, Tuesday, probably Wednesday, getting stuff for everybody that's coming in. And everybody give a shout out to I think my daughter is watching, and hope she's feeling better from getting over the flu before our whole family comes in, and because we don't want to share that with anyone. So the other company I want to talk about, and it's going to be a kind of a shocker to some people because they just think they're just a money grabbing company. They aren't, but they're big. So they get that bad stigma and perception to it. Oh, why do you wax your chains? It's clean, it's smooth, it makes it faster and less wear and tear on your drivetrain. Have a whole bunch of videos in my library, check it out. If you don't believe my Zero Friction channel has a whole bunch of lengthy, legit testing on all these different waxes out there, and also drip lubes too. So you can go into the weeds in his channel, and Vital Bike Change provides that service here in the States for those who are that. I mean, I do a little bit, but he's the real deal. I mean, in any case. Okay, so going back to the other company that gives back in a pretty significant way is, believe it or not, I should do the whole Trek bicycles, believe it or not. Trek bicycles, they give back. And they're a pretty big company, obviously, but they do give back. I kind of forgot what it was, like a pretty significant amount, like $35,000 or something to a charity and that kind of thing. But they do help with trail building and so forth. Even though they're the big bad chain store kind of thing within the cycling industry, because they have corporate stores and all that, but they saw opportunity. They're a for-profit company, so can't put them too back. And then again, all those big companies become targets. So I do have several buddies that still work for a Trek corporate within the retail platform of it. They seem to be treated right. They're getting decent pay. They got health benefits and all that. So needless to say, how you feel about them. If the big company is at least giving something out, that gives you a little more warm and fuzzies when you go in and buy their products from them. Can't fault them being a profit company. But then there are a lot of other companies out there also donating, including even to the small micro level as mine. We do donations and those various things. And throughout the course of the year, I do give few bikes away and here and there and that kind of thing. I'm just not a huge outfit, which just kind of coattails the last podcast of the Bike Farmer. If you just got off of that and started watching this, he was talking about nonprofit bike shops and to profit bike shops and those who give back to communities and so forth. We have a bike co-op here in Fort Collins, Colorado. There's another one, I think, in Longmont and Greeley or in Boulder. So they're sprinkled all over the place. And there's another one in Denver. Well, there's a handful in Denver, like Hope Cycles and a couple others. So there's people trying to do good work, upcycling all those bikes. And, people donate to those particular charities throughout the year. So, it's one of those things. I got a nick on my ring. In any case, but yeah, big to medium to small. Everybody can help your cycling community and so forth. This is the kind of the year to really kind of reflect on that a little bit because it's the holidays. And when you go into your in-laws or whatever and they see you like some bikes they don't touch anymore, I give them a subtle nudge and go, hey, you might want to donate that to, somebody that actually will use it. Or they'll be Freddie Gruddy like, I want to sell it. It's like, good luck. Because the market right now for used bikes is done. It's pretty quiet, quite honestly, and it's really gotten sterilely quiet in the last couple of weeks. So a lot less things are selling, even in the used part realm with parts and frames and so forth. Have been pretty kind of quiet. It is kind of expected. It is a cycling, pullback. And then in January, people start buying again, getting ready for the season, or if they're already in season like they are in Florida, Texas, and various other places. Definitely it is. All right, battle bike chains. World Cycling Relief, is that a SRAM thing? Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure with that one, but there's like so many different charities out there for relating to cycling. It's just kind of insane, for sure. And it's just you just hope that all those big companies that can do, at least do a little. And I mean, for even companies like, for example, Lightspeed. Lightspeed's kind of crazy because it's a high-end titanium bike company, and they've been around for a long time. But they do have a trade-in program for their Lightspeeds, and you can trade in your old Lightspeed to buy a new Lightspeed. Get into through axle, disc brake, Di2, whatever, electronic shifting, wherever you want to go with, gravel, that kind of thing. Well, they take those old Lightspeeds, they have such high confidence of those particular bikes, they donate them to a nonprofit in Atlanta. And a nonprofit in Atlanta uses the money when they sell them to tool and train and keep their nonprofit going. And what's really nice is they're teaching people how to work on bikes, which is a very deficit in the cycling industry right now. There's no schools anymore. There's only a couple left. Barnett's got closed down by QBP. That was one of the big ones over the last decades that got shut down. And a few others are just barely getting by. So in this kind of state of the state, with a combination of, there's a lot of lack of small bike shops like there used to be in the 90s and early 2000s, which cultivated a lot of up and coming mechanics from high school to college are gone. So that's a big deficit, and you want people to work on your bike, which will allude to the second half of the conversation here of the total freak out, the real freak out. Yeah, it's one of those things. In any case, yeah, and what I've been working on this week, various other things. Also, I had a short, I think it dropped today. It's over a Trek 1000 and a Trek 1000 WSD, which is women's specific design. If you don't know what women's WSD, yeah, it's one of those things where a bike company made a frame, and one went to the WSD mart and one went to just the standard paint. And the difference is for women's specific was different bars, different shifters for brake reach and saddle. Maybe a little bit shorter crank arm. That's really about it. There wasn't really any difference between the frames between them. Not all bike lines are like that. Some have variation differences, but within Trek, they did have some that were very specific frames for each Nord, but it's usually the upper end. So when they have that one specific for the lower end, that's, it's kind of a cookie cutter thing. But in any case, just did a tune up on that this week. I have a little short on it that's on my channel that just launched today. A little rough, but it's a commuter bike. It's like going to the restaurants or coffee shop or going grocery store type bike. It's not, I mean, it was designed originally to do road riding, entry level, but it has decent componentry. 105 shifters, Ultegra rear derailleur, a decent crank set, a decent wheel set, although they're the paired spoke, which might give at some point. But put some new rubber on it, new brake pads, bar tape, new cables and housing. For a couple $100 of labor and parts, well, he paid a little bit more because he brought in a little more parts in. So I would say probably under 400-ish. He has a great stellar bike for commuting and recreational using. So just to throw out there, Trek 1000 is a really good bike to do that to, because when you're looking at new, even the comparable new, you're still looking at, like Trek new is like $1,200 for a road bike. Bottom line, starting. Then I go up from there. The other project they got, I'm going to be shooting some videos, which I have, is this classic Klein Adept race. Just did the compound polishing on it, detailing with the scratch and swirl, which has really got the paint corrected. What the compound does in the scratch and swirl, it sounds like it does, it takes the micro scratches, so it corrects the paint, the clear coat and that kind of thing, and makes those deeper scratches look less noticeable, all those things. Any extra grit, grime, and gunk on there comes off. And then I'm ready to polish it. And what's hard for a full suspension, because you got all these nicks and crannies, it's not straight. takes a little time. So I've been working on that quite a bit. And it wasn't bad. It's just kind of dirty and been sitting for a long time. Got all the parts cleaned up. They're ready to go. So now I just need to finish the polishing. And once I finish the polishing, then I do the ceramic coating layering, which would be very detrimental for this particular paint job because it's two-tone. You look at it, it's blue, then it turns green, then it turns blue. High depth glitter. Looks like a bass boat glitter to it. It's really pretty. So yeah, excuse me. It is designed to do V-brake and disc. So I bought a set of wheels. So I'm going to feature that in a separate video on those, or had some wheels built up that will really nicely pair that. Because the wheels that did come with it, it had a mix match, and this particular bike, I think it really needs to have matchy-matchy wheels. So that's the kind of long attention detail. I'm going to be doing that, double checking suspension, all that. But I think it's going to come out beautifully. And for some client follower out there that loves suspension, beautiful paint job, this is going to be a gem for them for sure. But in any case, that's what I've been working on the last day or so. What I have in the pipeline is the old classic Schwinn Paramount. I have a felt full suspension. Looking behind you and through you. What else is there? I got a Bontrager frame I need to get listed. I have another Fuji team to do a tune-up on, as well as a Giant. So I got a list of stuff. That'll get me way into January, and plus I got some tune-ups coming in January as well. To keep the lights on and keep me busy and keep me warm in the garage. So here we are. In any case, I know everybody's probably taking off. They're probably on their travels today, trying to get to wherever they're supposed to be or preparing for the holidays. So it is what it is. Also, what I found was really cool about this bike is the headset was like chunky, and I thought this was a cartridge bearing system, but it wasn't. It was a loose bearing system, ball bearing system, and it's dirty. So I put these in ultrasonic cleaner in a jar of straight simple green, ran it through about 3 cycles of 4 minutes, and it brought those bearings back to brand new. And they're not pitted or anywhere in the cups and so forth. It just, I think it was just over tightened and just never, and the bike has not been ridden. Bought it from the original owner. She bought it to ride with her husband, which was a venture rider at the time, doing all those extreme races and so forth. And she traded a little bit with him and decided, like, this is not for me, and hung the bike up for the last 24 years. Has been sitting in the rafters of their garage. So lucky me, I get to do some beautiful polishing on it. And sorry. Ooh. Hey guys. Gotta get that tickle out of my throat. And yeah, sorry there was no Freak Out Friday last week because we were in New York City and for my daughter's birthday, which it was really cold. It was really cold running around Times Square. Checked out the tree at Rockefeller Plaza. It was a lot of fun. But standing in the cold for lines and lines on end for a lot of places. We went to the WAO Schwartz kids toy store. Really cool, but we had to wait in line for like 45 minutes to even just get in. And we were in there for like an hour and a half just looking at all the cool stuff. A lot of fun, but it was like, it wore us out. And probably that's part of where we all got colds and my daughter came with the flu, but I think she got exposed to it at her school before we left because there's a huge flu outbreak going on out here in North Colorado. So, needless to say, with the flu or not flu shot, you're going to get it. Apparently the strand is not the strand that they got the shot for. In any case, so that's hopefully I'll through the weekend finish this guy up. The weekend before Christmas, it's usually pretty quiet for me. I'm not planning to do any tune-ups or anything like that because I kind of shut that down due to the fact that I'm going to be busy with family this week as well. And this gives me an opportunity, like all shops, to kind of clear out, clean up, reorganize, let the dust settle, have everybody pick up their stuff for the Christmas. And funny story, there was one shop back in the day called Smoky Hill Cyclery. They're not there anymore, but they were in Aurora. That was his. All bike shop owners are kind of quirky, and this one was pretty quirky too. And he closed his shop from the 26th till like the first or second week of January because he didn't want to deal with any returns, exchanges, which was an interesting philosophy, but that's what, I don't know. Stan the man. He was one interesting weird guy. Yeah, that was his name, Stan the man. And when he got married, as being weird as weird be, is his wife's maiden name was Man. So he changed his last name when he got married so he could be Stan Man. And Stan, you're watching, sorry, I just throw you on the bus. It's kind of a funny thing. Really good friend of mine, dad's. We had similar shop size, that kind of thing, and they'd love to gripe about whatever and talk and whatever back in the day. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. Stan the man closing the shop. So looking forward to the holidays. Hope you all are having a good time with your family. Get some rides in if you have the appropriate weather in your neck of the woods, and layer up and try to keep it sane. And keep in mind for all those that are working around you, and also you shopping or working, you don't know everybody else's story, and it is a stressful time for a lot of people just because it is the holidays. Just want to give a shout out for the mental health of everybody is usually kind of tweakish right now. So be polite, try to be, smile on your face, roll with the punches, let it be what it is, because we're all going through different things, and you never know when that other person on the other end is going through some extreme times. So, and that's, should be the case all the time, but the holidays kind of emphasize a lot of that, and that's where you get a lot of depression and those scenarios. Not to bring a Debbie Downer, just want to make sure, courtesy reminder of retail's tough on a lot of people. And they have a hard time navigating those stresses because they're getting the stresses from the bosses and they're getting the stresses from the customers, and all the way around too. You never know where the customer's going through as well. So let's all just be human beings. So be a human being through this holidays and have a good time. But so that in mind, something I want to put in a little bee in your bonnet, a little thought in the back of your head, is about your bike. And I was thinking about this. It's like, who is your best riding buddy? It's your bicycle, right? Your bicycle is there through thick and thin. You give it damage, you crash on it. It's with the crashes with you. It goes through all the storms. It goes through all the travel, all the hardships and so forth. And a lot of us just put those buddies just away, ridden hard, and put away, the scenario. So you want to give some love to your riding buddy, your best buddy that keeps you sane and keeps you in health and all that. And, for your buddy not to fail you, it's best to get it, you guessed it, tuned up and ready for the next season. Well, I got good news and I got a big stinker bad news for you. So let me have a second here. Clear my throat. Actually, let me put on something for a second so I don't disrupt you. So I can do a little change here if I can find it. But thanks again for hanging out with me on a crazy Friday beforehand. Hopefully you're finding some sanity here. And since Vital Bike Chains is on, I'll just do his little promo here. Her popular chain process or waxing of Vital Bike Chains provides
brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in high detailed 5-step process and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. Takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below.
Hopefully I didn't disturb you there too much. Nope, nope. Where am I going? Whew. Whoa, almost lost myself there. Okay, the cliffhanger. Yeah. Well, your riding buddy has been with you from thick and thin, and you either bought it used or new, and maybe got it fitted to you, and it's giving you miles and miles of enjoyment. What's the good news? Well, pretty simple. A lot of bike shops this time of year in the off season have discounts on their tune-ups. Yeah, tune-up discounts. It's a good thing because it's a win-win. And some people are like, why are you it's bad for the bike industry to discount. Well, they can discount because they can discount it to a percentage to draw people to bring in their bikes in the off season, which helps still generate revenue. Okay, keep in mind, there's, that is a marketing piece, but it does true to bring in your bikes to help out the shops in the off season, and you get a little bit of a discount. What's the benefit for the customer? Well, the benefit is, the remainder mechanics that are still in the off season are usually the better mechanics or non-seasonal, and they've been kept around for the whole season because they're good. And those particular mechanics like working on bikes. And yes, it's been about a month or so of slowdown, so they've probably gotten their sanity back to some level, got some time off or what have you, so they're fresh and they're excited for the new season coming up. And if you're not working on a service bike, you are cleaning. And when you're cleaning, mechanics don't like to clean. Maybe some do out there, but most don't. They'd rather be working on bikes. So pulling all the benches out and doing the deep sweep because the owners are going to be like, yeah, we're going to keep it busy, So instead of counting for inventory and cleaning, they'd rather be working on bikes. So you give them something to work on, and they're going to take their time to work on your bike. That's the big one there. You get a little discount, you get better quality tune-up, and it's a win-win. And maybe a little bit faster turnaround, but then again, you're probably not too worried about when you get the bike back at this time of year. Maybe you do, possibly. But the big tune-up piece is it's a win for January and February for those in the northern, colder areas where the off-season is. So it is a good time to set up that appointment, bring that bike in, help support your local shops, having that service work done. Even if it's a smaller thing, like you want bottom bracket to install or a headset off that new frame that you just bought off of my website, that kind of thing. It's, or refresh the drivetrain, or you want to get into wax chains or detailing, whatever the case may be, all these fun things to refresh your buddy. The buddy that you ride, that does sound really bad. Your riding buddy, the bike. Any case, you want to refresh that ride for the season. I had somebody chime in, what do you do at the end of the season for your bike to be ready for the next season? Get it tuned up. Get it just tuned up. And then it's all ready to go. And most likely you just need to add a little air to the tires and good to go. That's the best proactive way of having your bike ready for next season. And this is the time to do it because the prices are going to be slightly discounted. Even the corporate stores are discounting. They may have laid off in this month, like the big T stores, but they'll do another promotion. I almost guarantee it. Almost can guarantee it. In January and February, a lot of these shops are going to be doing these promotional discounts. They keep their mechanics busy. They keep people coming in the doors and doing all those good things. Thank you for joining in. Priscilla. I'm sorry, I totally butchered it up. I'm just calling you 8979. But thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. And the off-season tune-ups are, again, which I mentioned, a little bit of a better discount. You get a little bit better service. You spend a little bit more time on the bike. Okay, you got two types of mechanic shops out there, and I've been thinking about this. And it's like, out of all the 35 years of working in bike shops and having a shop myself, you got kind of two. It's not the mechanics. It's actually the shop environment and what's expected of that mechanic to do while he's working at that shop. So you have two philosophy shops, two types. You got the one that sounds horrible, just get it there. The get it there shop, just get it good enough. It's just a good enough shop, because they're doing so much volume. It's just good enough to warrant the value of the price that the customer paid. A good enough shop. They're fine, they're dandy, nothing too negative about it, but there's something better out there. You got the very patient, kind of little almost over the top mechanics that do a little too much detail work and maybe take a little bit too much long time to overthink things. You're looking at one right now. The overachiever mechanic. So you got the good enough mechanic and the overachiever mechanic. The overachieving mechanic scenario, concept, repair comes from Parker Bikes. You see the sign above me, see him on my hat. That's where I was born and raised as a mechanic, and that was my dad's philosophy. If you're not going to do it, right, don't do it at all. It's one of those things. You got to always be honest with the customer. You got to take your time to make sure it's done right. So that philosophy is still ingrained into me, as well as a lot of other shops. I'm not going to say a lot of shops are bad out there. I'm going to say there's some shops that are exceptionally good. Reason being is they take their time, they're going to do it right, and they'll dive into certain parts of the bike, even though you may not even come out and may not even ask for it to be done, but they found something wrong and they're just going to do it. So some shops will charge for every little thing, and that's fine because we're for profit mostly to make it business. And then you have shops that, well, we'll charge you twice next time. Concept. Same thing with my dad. We'll charge you twice next time for little things here and there. You're already there. You're digging into it. What's the bottom line? What we try to do at the end result for all bikes, for sure, from all shops? It functions well and it's safe. So there's a lot of variables to a bike that can flex on that. So maybe a hub needs to overhaul, or a headset needs to be taken a look at, popped open and take a look at it. And instead of charging the $15-20, the overachiever mechanic is just going to do it. And overachieving shop, the service department requirements, depending, some are like, you got to charge for every little thing. And then you have some that are like, whatever, just, we know that. I mean, if the owner knows the name of most of the customers coming in, most likely you'll have like, oh yeah, take care of Bob's shop, bike, suspension, whatever. Whatever needs to be done, do it right. Because he knows that customer's going to come back. And he knows he comes to you because he's looking for that over-the-top mechanic and service. So you really can't blame always the mechanic, because you could have good mechanics, but they're in the good enough shop environment, which is a lot of corporate stores. I'm going to have to say that. But they still have some leeway and flex. So this is the time of year when bike mechanics are less stressed. So even the good enough shops will do a little better. So that discount on that tune-up is going to be a better quality one. Don't wait to in-season tune-ups with those shops. They'll advertise 24-hour turnaround, but you're going to get a good enough, barely good enough tune-up. So that's part of the stinker of the down part of this. It's all about timing. So all those out there that have bikes and all you shops out there are working on stuff, ask yourself, am I a good enough shop or am I an overachieving shop? Is my good enough shop my niche? And that's just how we roll, and that's just kind of how it's going to be. That's fine. That's if you still have plenty of business and so forth. But overachiever shop moves in your neck of the woods, you might be losing some business. Yes, granted, there are some deficits to being an overachiever shop, which you spend a little much more time, which is more of loss of labor costs and so forth. But you're hoping to get that in the return. But the bottom line is, both shops are trying to service their community, right? So keep in mind, not all shops are alike. Some are just good enough. Some are overachievers. And there might be some in between. But really thinking about it, like over the years, if I got hired up by a corporate store and they're going to put me in a shop and I'm going to do service work, I'm going to be really a pain in their ass because I'm the overachiever mechanic. And you tell me I'm not filling the quota of how many tune-ups to be done in a day, or I'm not charging for everything, I'm just going to give them the big old middle finger because I do what I do and my reputation relies on me. And regardless of what shop I'm working in. And I did bump up, top. Speak, Justin. I did bump up a couple times with a couple different shops I worked at and had some issues. And, you know, one did let me go. But they're no longer around. So who's winning there? In any case, not to bring up old judges' anger issues and so forth, but I just wanted to say, this is a great time to think about getting your shop or bikes in for January and February service done. If you want to do that wax services, this is a great time to switch over. If multiple chains and so forth. It might be a little bit of investment up front, but you want to invest in your riding buddy that's going to carry you through the next season. And if the shop does the tune-ups like the overachiever bike shops, your tune-up will last all season for the most part, unless barring any major issues, crashes and so forth, or just ride a lot. But I've found the tune-ups that I've been doing last almost 2 years before they really need to do tune-up. So therefore, you may pay a little bit more for that overachieving shop, even with a discount, but you're still getting the value out of it. And also depends on the shop and your vibe. I mean, don't take a road bike to a mountain bike shop. It doesn't really make sense. Fill that niche for what bike you have. Sometimes you'll have to go to 2 different shops in your neck of the woods. One's for road, one's for mountain, one's for gravel or whatever. And there you may have to do that. But those shops are becoming more defined and more niche shops because of just our environment, and it's going to continue to do so. So that's the changing ebb and flow of what's going on in our cycling industry. Good, bad, or otherwise, how you say it, it is change, and it's going to change, and it's going to continue to change, regardless of what's going on. And that does not isolate to the States, which a lot of it is problematically starting from the States. But that bleeds out through globally. You know, shops in Europe, same thing. Some of the shops in Europe have been like that for decades. So, needless to say, this is the great time to have that bike done. Here's the real big stinky pain that everybody's going to not like. And bike shops and customers alike are not going to like this, but they're going to have to do it. And this is painful because at some point, if not at the beginning of the season or beginning of the year, they will have to do at the beginning of the season. Like myself, yours truly, we're going to have to raise our rates. Ooh, that's painful to do because that customer, that's been a good customer coming in, you have to tell them it's going to be $50, $100 more for the same tune-up. Why? Well, things have gone up in price, everything. And they're not, needless to say, they're saying they're going down. It's not everything. For run of business, when it comes to bike shops, our chains are more expensive. Our tires are more expensive. The bikes are more expensive. Everything, cables and housing are going to be more expensive. Not like eggs or gasoline. That will not go down. So once it goes up, it stays up. And historically, gone through a lot of these in the last 35 years, the prices will most likely stay the same, especially in the bread and butter stuff, which affects service. In addition to all those mechanics that are working, everything in their personal lives have gotten more expensive. Therefore, cost of living has technically gone up. Now, I don't want to bring this up and be political or anything about it, but that's just the reality of it. Bike mechanics in the whole, in usual, in normal, are already being paid too little for high expectations of their skilled labor. Therefore, that needs to go up. Labor rates are going to go up. Bike shop people, I know there's some of you shop people out there are watching. It's like, oh, man, I don't want to raise it because I don't want to turn away business. Everybody is going to have to do it. It's almost expected. So you're going to have to raise your labor rates. Whatever the percentage is, it will depend on your neck of the woods. But for me, it's like 50, $100 more. Why? Because even though I have very little overhead, things still cost me and cost me otherwise. Therefore, everything has to go up a little bit. And looking at the general labor rates of what I've always been a way lower, and I didn't been devalued my time. Basically, I'm working way below minimum wage. So to adjust correctly, I'm going to have to bring that price up. By demand, it's going to have to happen because number one, right now, going into next season, high-end bike sales are going to stay flat, have been flat. The ones that have already been on sale have already been direct to consumer for the most part. So the local bike shops are not having that customer coming in the door. The entry-level bikes are not quite there and for sales, not in the volume that they need to be to support that. And accessories and so forth are more expensive. So a lot of people are going to be going online to buy all that other stuff. So that really undercuts the bike shop almost in whole, except for the service. And the service part is what's carrying them so far for a lot of shops of moving, keeping the needle and keeping the lights on going forward. That's going to unfortunately have to increase. Is it justified? Yes, it actually should have been done a couple of years ago. But the market's been so damn competitive that we've been trying to just sell products to get that margin and kind of, the service has become the redheaded stepchild. But now it's in front forward to everyone. And a lot of shops, that's the only way they're actually making any money. So therefore, they're going to have to invest more tools, more time and labor, more training, and more higher livable wage for these mechanics to sustain them, to keep them in those shops. That's just the painful part. So get your tune-ups done now before we all have to bring up our prices. Help us keep the lights on. That's the benefit to you as a customer, but getting those tune-ups before the season hits. And when the season hits, expect longer wait times and more expensive tune-ups. Because we're going to have a week or two out to 3 weeks out on turnaround anyway. That's when the volume hits. Why is the volume going to hit that hard? Like last year, things are expensive. They're watching their pennies. They're going to not buy used to buy new. They're going to buy used if they're going to buy a bike, and they're going to have them redone or fix up what they have. So we're in that scenario, which we've seen that time and time again with any kind of downturn or recession portion. Yeah, I said it. Not that great of economical stance. And this is not just the United States. This is global. So when you're looking at this scenario, yeah, it's all going to be labor. They'll take care of you. But then again, it's going to cost you a little more. Which in hand, everything else is going to cost you more. Therefore, it's a horrible feedback loop. But in any case, that's kind of where we're at right now. Plumbers have high dollars, car mechanics, high dollars. Not shocking when the bike shops has high dollars. Heavy metal cycles, exactly. I mean, the bike mechanic as an industries go, which compared to the car industry, motocross industry, even like plumbers, heating, any of that stuff, all their wages have gone up. All the costs on that for you to have those services have gone up. Bike shops have always been kind of lagging to that, but this is going to be that it's not. They're not going to be really making. They're making more money, but it's not. Everything costs more for them, so it's like they're not really making more. They're just adjusting to what their cost of living is. And then yes, that's going to cost you. So that's going to drive a lot of people going, oh my God, I'm not going to spend $150 to $200 for labor for a tune-up. They're going to be watching channels like mine and others to learn how to do some stuff themselves. There's always going to be a portion of the population that's going to want to have somebody else do the tune-ups on it, and they have the means for it, which is fine. But a lot of people that are on the edge are going to just work on their stuff, and they've probably been there anyway because either they weren't happy with the service that they got or they didn't see the value of it. and they figure if they're able to do it themselves, they're going to do it. I do implore a lot, most, if not everybody, to work on or try to work on their bikes to some level of extent, and then take it to the shop to have a double check for safety or have some other work done to it. Reason being is you need to know your bike as much as possible, especially on those longer rides. I mean, you could be 10, 15 miles away from home, and all of a sudden you have something break, and you don't know how to splice that chain to at least limp back home or fix that tire or twist that spoke or whatever to get you there. That can be problematic, especially if you're in the woods, like up in the mountains, because that's a long walk out of the mountains. So I've always implored people to work on it or try to work on it themselves. But at the end of the day, you want to double check and make sure it's safe to ride. That's the number one thing. So, in any case, that is the 1-2 punch, like good news, bad news, coming this spring to you. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, it is what it is. And it would, I wish I could charge 90s tune-up prices of the $35 tune-ups and the the $100, $150. I think our overhaul was $150. Like we took the bearings apart and the bottom bracket and everything. It was like $150 or something like that. We spent like 4 hours on a bike. And now today, with the profitability and all that, it's just not there. So even when you have low overhead like I do, like myself, and do other things, your time needs to be valued, and that goes with everybody. So it goes back to the warm thought of everybody respect each other in their position, understand it, and if you don't like it, well, it's on you to figure it out. Like you want to work on it yourself, or find somebody else that'll do a little bit cheaper. But shopper beware, usually pay what you get kind of thing. That definitely goes in with the service part of it. You got a cheap tune-up, some guys doing tune-ups on the side of the street, not licensed, not insured, doing it for like $25. You don't know the credibility, what kind of training. I mean, we're not licensed. There's no licensing for bike mechanics. Should be. There is for people that cut hair, which is crazy. But I mean, with your bike, which is a lot more, I mean, a bad haircut may not kill you, but riding a bike that got tuned up incorrectly could. So I'm just throwing that out there. But if you want to be, vet your shop, vet your mechanic, especially if you haven't gone to a shop, look up the reviews, that kind of thing, ask some questions, what they do in the tune-ups and so forth, what kind of training have you done, for the mechanics, that kind of thing. Even with corporate stores, they have certain levels of training that they go through. But the thing is, there's just so much, cycling is such a huge enchilada right now. There's so many different things, aspects of it, from e-bikes to recumbents. It's just everything in between. And it's been going crazy for the last 20 years where not one shop, one person can know everything. It's almost, unless they don't have zero life and they don't ride their bike, they just sit in the shop and learn stuff all day long. They're the only ones that are going to know everything and retain it. So you're going to have, which is broken up to be right now, a lot of niche shops. One does one really good on road, one does suspension only, one does recumbents, one does e-bikes. Therefore, you want to find the perfect bike niche shop for you, if possible. Some areas are going to be more limited. Therefore, you might have to rely on some of that expertise work on yourself to learn how to do it, which fortunately, so 20 years ago, when a bike shop, there was no social media. Now there's a whole bunch of YouTube channels and influencers and groups on Facebook and what have you that can help you through the process of those too. In any case, that's what we're looking at. That's not a shocker, but a shocker. Looking at my own numbers and so forth, going through my last invoices, I'm charging way too little. For what I'm doing and for what is costing me. At some point, you have to get paid. So, hate to break it to you, but it is what it is. I'm saying it out loud. And, bike shops will make a decision if it where they do the increases on that and what, what's appropriate for their communities and what have you. Or maybe they will legacy, like I'm toying with the idea of legacy pricing. You've been a customer for a while, so I will always give you that lesser expensive discount tune-up, which might be what I do. The newer customers get the more expensive tune-ups going forward, because that's probably the fairest thing to do, but it's hard to say. It's just it's very touchy subject, but I mean you gotta adjust that somehow, and I mean, will I give more of a discount or more labor? That's kind of how I look at it. It's like I do more on a bike for the price that they ask or what is acknowledged, and maybe a discount if they bring in 2 bikes at the same time. So those kinds of things. So that's I've always been fair, actually been more than fair or overextended, because I'm the giver mechanic. I just give as much as I can to that bike because I know the person is going to ride it, and I want to ensure they have the best experience and safe as possible. I do have the flexibility to spend more time on a bike than a lot of shops. Therefore, a lot of shops put a lot of serum heat on their staff to get the volume up. So, in any case, but regardless, thank you for hanging out with me on a Friday freak out. And next Friday I should have the same time, same station. And I hope you all have wonderful holidays if you're not already going through them already. And Happy New Year. We'll probably do maybe like a prediction of 2026 next week or something like that. Or maybe that's the week after, right before New Year's, this kind of thing. What did we see? What we're going to go see? What have you? In any case, thank all of you for hanging out with me in the garage. If it's nice in your neck woods, please go for a ride. And until next time, if it's Friday, check me out. You guys have a great holiday. I just hope everybody gets healthy here. Ugh, healthy as could be. Thanks for all the chiming in. Heavy Money Cycles, nice to hear from you. Thanks for taking the time to chime in. 8979, thank you for chiming in. I think that's, I don't know what country, is that a country? Flags they put up. The Scam 51, thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. And Quibble 455. And of course, Bill at Vital Bike Chains and Joe channel. They both have channels, so check them out. And we have our family. I'm sure my daughter was listening in or saw me on a short or something. Any case, y'all have a great holiday. Thanks again for hanging out with me in the garage. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Where did that go? I better get working on some bikes. People are going to be accusing me not working on bikes. Do more talking than working. I guess that's always been my downfall. Jibber jabber, jibber jabber.